will generate the production of IRF3, which will produce cytokine production, neutrophil recruitment, and kill bacteria. That's why in the urinalysis you will see polyuria. If the patient has bacteriuria, but it did not cause any inflammation, then there will be no polyuria. That will be the case in covered. If you had, that's why you don't have to treat it. There's no inflammation. It's not necessarily anti-infection. Now, with the production of IRF3, then there will also be production of interleukin 6. This one will cause production of pyrogens, and it also activates hepatic CRP. That is why increased CRP will also point to urinary tract infection. But also, this will produce fever. So bladder pa lang siya, you can have low-grade fever. Then, interleukin 8, further neutrophil migration, therefore there will be further pyuria. Uy, fairness. Sakto yung natin. Next. Then, what if the urine refluxes into the papillary? Then, there will be E. coli in the renal parenchyma. So, there will be intrarenal reflux causing host response and a hyperactive host response. Therefore, there will be immunologic and inflammatory changes causing renal injury and eventual scarring. This is most common in patients who are less than 24 months. Very sensitive yung kidneys nila. So the younger they are, when they have urinary tract infection, the higher the risk actually of having end-stage kidney disease. So again, fever is the most common symptom among infants who have children. So, for example, I have a patient, 6 months old, who has fever of 40 degrees Celsius for 48 hours, poor intake, and with vomiting and chills. Then the urinalysis shows bacteriuria, nitrites, leukocytes. What will be your diagnosis? Urinary tract infection, di ba? Pero alin doon? Cystitis or pyelonephritis? Fever, no? 40 degrees Celsius. Nag-chills na nga siya. Eh di, pyelonephritis. Naintindihan? So the patient has vomiting. The patient has poor intake. What do you give for the pyelonephritis? Oral antibiotic, IV antibiotic. IV antibiotic. Because the patient will probably not be able to tolerate oral antibiotics kasi nagpo-vomit na siya or umiinom na siya. Ang 6 months old ba, kaya mong sabihin, ako hindi yan para sa'yo, kanina mo yan. Siyempre hindi, wala siyang pakialam. Okay? So the most important, the fine predictors more useful than individual findings would be fever without cold. So, how do you diagnose in older children the presence of abdominal pain, back pain, dysuria, low onset incontinence? That's very important. The low onset incontinence will increase the likelihood of urinary. But those who are not yet verbal will have symptoms that sometimes even point to sepsis, especially in neonates. Lethargy, poor feeding, jaundice, and fever. So, syempre, sample, diba? Kita mo, may jaundice siya, the high-grade fever siya, kasi lethargy siya. Isipin mo ba, hindi ano ba? Syempre, hindi. Isipin mo muna, parang septic siya. Then you look for the blood. So, then you do blood cultures and urine cultures. Yeah? But for children who are, you know, awi, yung mga ganun-ganun lang, then you do your analysis to look for the tapos makikita nyo naman kung physical or chemical. So, higher likelihood that the patient has urinary tract infection, but there will be no other source of infection. Okay? 5 times ko din ulit yun, So, urine culture should be performed for cases with significant urinalysis findings and complicated cases of UTI, especially in seriously ill children and recurrent infections. This is still the gold standard for diagnosis of urinary tract infection. So this one is the clean voided chapter. Pwede ba natin ito? Ano na kayo? Di ba pwede? Para mas kita. Okay. So, clean voided samples. Ano natin yung dapit? Alam niyo yung dapit. Diba, what did they do with the infant na iniwan lang siya sa banyo? So, what did they do? They had to get sample for the urine. They just turn the patient over, tapos they put cold rollers on the bladder, the patient pee. That's what you call the clean voided sample. Okay? They clean the area and they pause the patient. It's not a bag sample. A bag sample, usually, you take the bag onto there's a wee bag, what you call a wee bag. Basically, supot siya na may adhesive dun sa ibabaw. So, you tape it over the genitalia and then you wait. Kung mapuno siya. Naturally, it can be contaminated by the perimeter. So, if it is positive, it doesn't necessarily mean that the patient has a perimeter. But if it is negative, that is okay? So, we rely on the clean voided sample because the accuracy compared to the catheterized samples and the suprapubic aspiration, which would be the gold standard for collection of urine, it's actually up to 95%. So long as you make sure that the area is clean and you actually catch it. So yung iba, ang ginagawa nila, instead of adding the bag samples, every 30 minutes you have to change. So, ang gagawin ng ibang mothers, i-feed nila, nari-ingay nila. That's it. Kasi, pag nag-work na kayo as peers, hindi tayo ganun ka well-manned. Katulad ng bakit? Dami mo lang, ikaw, sa yung bata. Kasi ikaw, 1, patient 2, tapos patient 2. Dalawa si ikaw. Isa ka, sino ka mo naman? Sino ka sasagot? Hindi masyado. Now, this one, the treatment. So this one is acute cystitis. That would be mild. So you delay treatment until culture will be low. Until the culture results are low. This one is acute cystitis that will be severe. So the patient has fever, greatly in pain. So you start the patient. So ito na yung mga presumptive. You start the patient on antibiotics and then wait for the culture results. Ito, mad lang siya. I feel funny here when I eat. Tapos, ito to eat, runs around, ito, you can wait. Sige, urinals. Ay, pangit yung urinals. Silipin na rin yung culture. Para, when you do start antibiotics, it will be targeted. You don't have to give antibiotics and culture. Now, this one. This is acute pyelonephritis. In acute pyelonephritis, if the patient is not able to tolerate feeding, like an example we a while ago, you hydrate the patient immediately. Start the patient on Ceftriaxone for 7 to 14 days. Then, but if the patient is older, ayoko po talaga magpa-admit, iinom po ako ng gamot. 10 years old na siya. Settings. Pero ibang mga babae, 3 years old, 4 years old. Inom ka ng gamot, opo. Tapos lagyan mo ng chocolate syrup. Inom. Oo. I-check. Outpatient. Basta nakakakain. And tsaka na yung so you ask them to follow up 2 days after. Because you would want to see, totoo ba? Ginawa ba talaga yung promise? And sabihin nyo, if hindi na tolerate yung antibiotics, bring the patient to the renal for because you would have to start IV. Now, this one would be the complications. Acute lobar nephronia renal abscess and cardiomyopathic abscess. Give the same antibiotics, but you extend it joint project. And these are the things that we did. These are the results. For acute cystitis, they recommend cotrimoxazole, nitrofurantoin, or amoxicillin. For acute pyelonephritis, so these are local out. So hindi siya nakadepend lang sa restaurant. See, we only give amoxicillin. It's not really, you don't give Cefix C right away. So that you have a choice of giving the Cefix C in the future. Then acute pyelonephritis, you give ceftriaxone or cefotaxime or ampicillin with gentamicin. So we're very conservative. We don't give the higher obstructive. We don't give the third generation cephalosporin right away. Also, of note, pagka meron with acute pyelonephritis, do not give nitrofurantoin. Nitrofurantoin is only good for acute cystitis because nitrofurantoin has 4-renal parenchymal bioavailability. So, mataas na yung fever ng patient, do not give nitrofurantoin. You probably have to give something from this one. Okay? Yes. Mari, 6 months old patient natin. Ang fever niya, 37.8 to 38. Tapos feeding well. But urinalysis may nitrites na 2 sides. Tapos yun nga, may low fever siya. Anong diagnosis doon? Cystitis, pyelonephritis. Cystitis. Anong bibigay natin antibiotic? Amoxicillin. Pwede ba nitrofurantoin? Usually, they give these antibiotics except cotrimoxazole, nitrofurantoin, amoxicillin, or cefixime. Ano doon? Isa doon? Cefixime. Okay? Kasi, ibigay nyo mas mababa. Yan. Okay, next. If the patient, same patient, 6 months old, 40 degrees yung fever, decrease, sock na siya. Ano nyo? Same results ng urinalysis. Anong diagnosis doon? Pyelonephritis. Anong bibigay natin? Ha? Ceftriaxone. Kasi poor intake siya. Tapos yakay-intake siya. Pero kung kunwari 6 years old, mataas din yung fever. May poor, decreased intake siya, pero wala siyang bone. Anong bibigay? Na antibiotic. Pwede bang
Cefix.
Okay? Iwalo ka, amoxicillin, cefixime, ceftriaxone, basta lahat details. Okay? So this one would be the guidelines from DOH. DOH 2017. They would think by age naman. Kasi infants, less than 2 months old. Remember, febrile, jaundice, poor intake. What do you think of first? Yung mas malala. It should be neonatal sepsis. With neonatal sepsis, what do you give? Siyempre hindi amoxicillin. You will give cefotaxime plus amikacin or ceftriaxone. Acute uncomplicated UTI for those who are older, yeah. Whether with cotricep, nitrofurantoin, or only first time. Then, recurrent catheter-related or with other comorbidities, you refer to feed, nephrology, and urology, and start aggressive care. So these are the investigations following urinary tract infection. You basically do KFD ultrasound to see if there will be congenital anomalies of kidney and urinary tract. Bata ka pa lang, nasisira na yung kidney mo. Baka may problema na ginagawa mo. Bakit ka nag-reflux? Bakit nagkakaroon ng improper bladder boiling? So then, you have to do KFD ultrasound. Then, BCUG. This is pretty invasive. Insert a catheter into the bladder, fill the bladder, wait for it to contract, then you will see there will be reflux. For patients who are worse off, nag-fill pa lang yung bladder, magkakaroon na sila ng reflux into the ureters and into the ureters. Then the DMSA would be after the fact. There is already scanning. So, these are important because this one, the AV ultrasound and BCG will show you preventable causes of urinary tract infection, or DMSA will show you the prognosis and risk for end-stage kidney disease. So when I say end-stage kidney disease, that means the patient has very poor renal function requiring kidney transplant. While the patient is waiting for kidney transplant, you have to do that. It's not just end-stage, end-game. So when do you do these tests? So depending on the type of infection and the age of the patient. Younger than 6 months old, you're very aggressive. Why did the patient have urinary tract infection now? So you actually look for, if the patient should have sterile urine after 48 hours of adequate antibiotics and the appropriate antibiotics. So the patient should have improvement. But being that the patient is young, so you don't have to need to do a lot of tests. But being that the patient is very young, when they had a urinary tract infection, mandatory, the patient should have ultrasound, renal ultrasound. Okay? Titingnan mo, ano yan? Bakit ganito yung tingnan? Para makakapag. So, you're checking for congenital anomalies. Now, if the patient doesn't improve after 48 hours, then that's what you call atypical infection. So, even while the patient is still sick, you do ultrasound. If the patient improved after 48 hours, maybe you can wait 6 weeks before you do ultrasound, renal imaging. But while the patient is still not getting better, even with supposedly appropriate antibiotics, then you investigate with histology. There are stones or there are other sources that need to be addressed right now. That's why you have to do imaging. And then, DMSA scan after 4 to 6 months. So, ang style talaga namin dyan, you do DMSA when the patient is not able to roll around. Because that would require the patient being supine for 20 minutes, not moving. Tapos, radiation. So, we would ask, we would usually do that for patients 4 months old. And then, yung next na, 5 years old, para hindi nila kailangan. Pero, if the patient had a typical infection, after 3 months, kahit ano do, kapag okay? Next, for those with recurrent infection, ano yung definition ng recurrent infection? Ilang acute cystitis? 3. Ilang acute pyelonephritis? 2. Pag mix sila, 1 pylor, 2 cystitis. Okay? So yun, if there is recurrent infection, once you see the patient, whether gumaling siya or hindi, upon admission, okay yung kasi bakit ulit ang ulit? So you engage. You're very aggressive when the patient is less than 6 months old. Sipin mo, nakadalawa na sila. Hindi mo siya nakakawang. So, matakot ka. Ibig sabihin, may congenital anomalies. Now, in 6 months to 3 years old, especially in older than 3 years old, you're not as aggressive. There's a lot of comorbidities in the equation. So there can be functional constipation, manipulation, there can be other diseases that could not be addressed. So we comorbidities. Most common would be the bowel and bladder. So more or less, use and management, it should improve the outcome. So once the outcome is improved, it also decreases the risk of the TJD. That's why I really beseech you, I behoove you, that you be aggressive in the work optimization with your lifestyle. Patients are not supposed to have more than one infection, UTI. Mas maganda nga kung wala. Kasi kung tayo, tanungin natin kayo lahat, nagka-UTI ba? Siyempre hindi. Pero, well, ako, ilang taon na ako, never pa ako nagka-UTI. That's okay, that's normal. Pero si Bonito, 6 to 8 times a year, di ba? Talagang, nakatabi mo lang, pwede kung saan ang gagawin, ang segundo na after that. Yun, UTI. So when you refer to pediatric nephrology, when there is a typical UTI, kaya important din yung urine culture. Because even if the patient improves after 48 hours, but if it's not controlled, the patient has no reason to have to go on or Klebsiella in the period. It means that the patient is probably immunocompromised and you work up the patient. Now, or if there would be any recurrent infection, refer to pediatric nephrology. Dati, nagpapabreak ito. Pero ngayon kasi, 8:28 na, no? Hanggang 9 lang tayo. Okay, so, diretso tayo sa hypertension. Hinga lang kayo ng 3 beses. 1, 2, 3. Okay, hypertension. Hypertension. These are the updated definitions. So, this one will be age 1 to 13 years old. And this one between the for age 13 years old. As you can see, the ones for age more than 13 years old, normal BP, elevated BP, and stages 1 to 2 hypertension would be like those of the adults. Pero yung less than 13 years old, dyan na mas complicated. Also, what will you get? This one, elevated BP of more than 90th percentile or 120/80. So kayo, di ba ang treatment sa inyo ng mga kamag-anak, yung doc na ang tawag nila sa inyo? Doktor na, nagpapabiti na sila sa inyo. Tapos doc na. Okay ba ang 120/80? Hindi, is no. So, dapat ang BP less than 120 over less than 80. So, pagka 120/80, sabihin nyo sila, kung saan po kayo sa cardio, kailangan nyo naman start na or mag-lifestyle. Okay? So, kunwari, ito naman, less than 13 years old. So, ang cut-off natin, 90th percentile or whichever is lower. Because, some patients, like 12 years old, no? The P90 limit may be 122/76. Pero, pag P90, sasabihin mo, more than 90th percentile. Pero 122/76. So, anong gagamitin nyo na cut-off? Yung 122 o 120/80? Siyempre yung 120. Okay? So, pero kasi, easier yun for patients such as mga 5 years old, 6 years old, P90 what? 100/60. Siyempre, whichever is lower, lower ba yun than 120? Yes. So, ang cut-off mo for P90, which is 100/60. Get it? Because you see, you heard the cut-off, diba? 122/76. So, hindi tayo nag-round up to the nearest tens. Or round down to the nearest tens. Kung i-check tayo ng treatment, babasahin nyo talaga every two, yung mga lines. So, dapat ang mga BP nyo 124 mga ganyan. Kasi, it draws the line between hypertension and normal. So, systemic hypertension is more commonly secondary to the pediatric population. The essential hypertension or the primary hypertension is common in adults. Kasi, bata, nagkakaroon yung blood vessels mo, wala kang karapatan ng mga hypertension. already has an increased risk of having hypertension. Imagine, the odds ratio is, the relative risk is 2.4. So that's very high. 2.4 times at greater risk of having hypertension. So yun yung mga pasyente na 20 pa lang na-atake na sa puso. Diba nakakita yung mga artista na na-attack sa puso early? 25, 28, yan. So, ito, maganda, ano nyo talaga, sa puso ng cut-offs nila, sa motivator. Because negative predictive value is already 99%. So, if the BP is lower than these for these ages, then you're pretty sure that the patient has normal. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng negative predictive value more than 99%. Kasi ang ginawa niya, kunwari, 3 years old,
Battery level 20%.
yung 3-year-old, kunwari, yung pinaka-short na normal, na 3-year-old, siguro 80-something lang yung height niya, 80 blocks million lang yung height niya. Pwede niyang highest BP is 101 over 50. 98% of that is 100 over 50. So kahit yung mga matatangkad na 3-year-old, pag mas mababa yung BP niya than 101 over 50, for sure, yun yung ibig sabihin. Kaya ito, nilagay ko sa wallpaper ko. Para, kung BP ka, okay ka. Check. Hindi ka kailangan maghanap dun sa mahaba at nakakabuling na kilo na sapat. When do you measure BP? Ito, nakikigil ako ha sa mga pagpapay. Ano BP ng bata? Tapos titingnan nila. Kasi nagpa-check out yung patient. Nag-difficulty of breathing daw. Ano BP ng bata? Dok, 9 months lang po siya. Eh ano ngayon? Eh sick siya. So this one, yung more than 3 years old, that's only for normal circumstances. So yung 9 months old, nag-difficulty of breathing, before intake, check nyo pa yung BP mo. Kasi may karapatan yun sa karoon na maybe so special circumstances, counted siya sa special circumstances. So yan yung i-memorize mo. Hindi nyo tatanong ko sa acceptance. Basically, when you have cardiac disease, and other things that will cause hypertension. So, if initial BP is elevated, what do you do? Check again. Do 3 readings, then more than 1 clinic visit. So, dapat repeated visits. But, first time niya ma-hospital, first time niya makita, may karapatan siyang mag-hypertension kung ayaw ka na. Kung hindi ka niya gusto, mag-hypertension yung tatanggal na nakita. Next time, mas hindi ka na, mas mabalik ka na, mas kilala ka na, pwede hindi na siya mag-hypertension. So maybe hanggang 250 visits, di na yun. So hypertensive pa rin siya up to that point. Hindi naman nagbago yung mukha mo, eh, may nakasalanan. Okay? So what do you do? When documented hypertension, first, you check the gradient between upper and lower extremities. If there is a problem, then it's probably coarctation of the aorta. So what should be the gradient? It should not be more than 20 from upper and lower. Okay? Next, if there is no gradient, if there is a gradient, you're thinking more of coarctation of the aorta or probably epiphyseal. Now, if there is no gradient, then it's not coarctation of the aorta. So what will you do? What is the most common cause of secondary hypertension? Renovascular. That's why it makes sense sa kidney ka naman. So, papa-urinalysis ka. Urinalysis, check mo. Bakit ka nag-hypertension? Ba't nasisira yung kidney mo? Is it because of the blood vessel or is it because of the kidney parenchyma, the renal parenchyma? So, if the urinalysis would be abnormal, you check the WBC ba or RBC yung problem? If it is the WBC, then the patient had recurrent inflammation of the renal parenchyma, causing the patient to have sclerotic changes. Yun na yung sa DNSA, na pinakita ko sa inyo, yung mga hospital. Pwedeng nagkaroon na siya ng ganun, hindi mo pala na-detect. That's why the patient will have pyuria in the urine, and the patient might have had reflux nephritis, recurrent urinary tract infection, or renal anomaly. Common denominator, there would be urinary tract. Okay? There is inflammation. Now, if it's predominantly RBC instead, not predominantly WBC, then you think of the glomerulonephritis or litharsis. Calcium. Kasi the calcium in the stones, kakaskas sila dun sa mucosa and will cause hematuria. Naintindihan? So, glomerulonephritis, if the patient has hypertension and hematuria, we're thinking more of glomerulonephritis. The nephritic syndrome, I will lecture about that. But basically, namamaga yung glomerulus pala. Namamaga pala. Kaya, may hematuria and hypertension. And probably water retention. With nephrocalcinosis and nephrolithiasis, the crystals are damaging the epithelium, scratching it. That's why there is hematuria. Now, other nephritis, renal vein thrombosis, and the thromboembolism, or even tumor would be present also, may be present also in the presence of hematuria. Okay. Example. If you have a patient, 7 years old, paulit-ulit, may hypertension siya, more than P95 plus 1, more than P95 plus 12. Okay? And then, so what will you do? Cis. And then, you saw that the patient has pyuria of 15 to 30. Then, RBC, 2 numerous to count. Saan ka pupunta? Predominant WBC o predominant RBC? Predominant RBC. So, yun yun. So, what will you do next? Serum C3, hindi C3. Serum C3, tapos check for ANA. Serum C3, ANA, anti-DSA, to check for glucose. Pero, kunwari, predominantly WBC, yung pyuria yung P and TC, 2 numerous to count. Pero yung RBC mo, 10 to 15 lang. Dito ka siya predominantly WBC. What will you do? Okay, you will do some urine. Naintindihan? Yes, okay. Now, if the urinalysis is normal, since the most common cause would be renal vasculature, you're thinking more of the vasculature from that would involve the renal, the kidney, or vasculature lang. Limited na tayo sa vasculature. Because the urinalysis, that or you're probably having tachycardia and hypertension, such as hyperthyroidism, or
Ano mo na eh?
some other
Tingnan ko sa
disorders
slides.
such as adrenal crisis or adrenal problems. Yun. Pwede din yun. And then, or kapag na-cancel nyo na lahat na normal, then probably this patient has essential hypertension. I have a patient, 16 years old, meron siyang essential hypertension. Kasi yung tatay niya, 20 years old lang, nag-start siya mag-oral na anti-hypertensive. Kasi hypertensive na yung tatay. Dinaanan pheochromocytoma, renal disease, hyperthyroidism, and virilization, congenital adrenal hyperplasia, or rickets in chronic kidney disease. We also look at the skin, neurofibromatosis, tuberculosis. Ito, needle plaques. Maka-addict siya ha. Hindi nyo mapatugma. Maka-addict. Okay? So, eyes, head and neck, cardiovascular findings, pulmonary signs, abdomen, and virologic signs, genitalia, skeleton. So, what do we do? First, we evaluate the hypertensive na nga. No? What do? You identify the cause. Because the most common hypertension is secondary. We look for cause. So these are the causes. How do you look for causes? For all children, persistent BP more than 98%. Elevated BP pa lang sila. Do history. Yung sleep history. Nagihilig po ba siya? Anong oras po natutulog? Ano po ang screen time ng bata mo? O, tandaan nyo ha, 15 minutes of screen time already increases. 15 minutes ha, 5 to 10 minutes already increases the BP, systolic BP by time. Okay. So, naka-cellphone mo yan. Kailangan ng hypertension. Ang oras sila natulog. Diet, mahilig ba siya sa maalat? Sodium, after an intake of high doses of sodium will already cause hypertension, elevation of BP after 10 to 15 minutes. More so after ganun kalala yung effect ng immediate siya. Ngayon, kung sanay ka, hindi natin mataas. Next, so yung mga nagpapapayat mo, hindi kumain masyado. Para hindi mag-water retention. Less, diba? Water retention na rin. Kasi ang gusto mo, yung water, mabuhay siya sa muscle, para for kasi pag maalat, hindi pa kami. Okay? Also, as for smoking, vaping, and drinking alcohol, do also the physical examination. All patients, history and physical examination without focus subsequent evaluation. Kunwari, nakita nyo, nagihilig po siya. Pero pag-isip naman po niya hindi masakit sa ulo. E di ba check nyo na kung may comorbidity siya na obstructive sleep apnea. Or, mataba siya. Siguro, meron din siya ang obesity. Kaya, nag-hypertension siya. Baka, metabolic syndrome. So, yung word in the line of metabolic syndrome. So, that's why it says here, it will focus subsequent evaluation. Then, those with stage 1 hypertension, more than 95%, you rule out renal diseases, chronic pyelonephritis, and mineral or cortical disease. So, yan yung mga, yung last natin na natin. Yung papa-urinary system na siya, papa-renal workup siya, renal workup. Then, all patients with CKD, taas na yung creatinine, meron na silang short stature, you do complete blood count. Because what would be the other function of the kidneys? That would be production of erythropoietin. And erythropoietin, as you well know, induces the production of RBC, such that patients with CKD, one of their manifestations, not only the renal problems, but also anemia. So, diba, function ng kidney, filtration, erythropoietin production, so nagkakaroon ng anemia, and vitamin D conversion. So, with vitamin D conversion, magiging poor naman yung growth ng bones nila. They can have rickets and they have short stature. Meron akong patient, 2 years siya, mabula yung hindi niya. Akala ng nanay, okay naman. So, nagsasabi yung moto, I'm not growing tall. Yung pala, speaking for 1,000. wasn't growing taller because his kidneys were not working. Tapos, 11 years old na siya, nabibili pa siya sa kama. Because, mula na iin niya, nabibili siya sa kama, hindi na niya pakontrol. Yung kidneys niya, hindi na nakakonsent. So, be careful of those things. Kahit mukha siyang cute, mukha siyang mabait, mukha siyang ano, pagka meron na silang symptoms, yun, pwedeng sirain. Then, evaluation for comorbidity. Based on your history, what do you think would be the probable comorbidity of the patient? If the patient is overweight, then do workup for metabolic syndrome. Do fasting liver cannon and fasting glucose. Tapos, measure mo din yung waist niya, saka yung chips niya for the waist ratio. Then, mukha siyang addict, pa-drug screen. Lagi nawawala. Late na umuwi. Minsan umuwi, lasing. Tandaan niyo mga pediatric to ah. So, sige, huwag na natin ito yung kung college kayo nagpakasal. Pero kung lagi-lagi, pa-drug screen. Next, nag-iilik siya. Hindi ba polysomal number? Baka mamaya, meron na lang siya. Either obesity related or probably obstructive sleep apnea. Now, you check for target organ damage. How long has the hypertension been? So, you already identified the cause. Hopefully, that's the prevention. Once the cause is addressed, probably you can reverse the hypertension. Now, look for target organ damage. Because for the target organ damage, if there is already LV hypertrophy, there is cardiac edema increase already, then the patient is at higher risk for cardiovascular episode. So this one will show you the prognosis. Also do retinal exam for retinal vascular changes so that you can address the possible complications. Next, do additional evaluation as needed. Ambulatory BP monitoring is the gold standard in diagnosing BP, hypertension. So, this one would identify white coat hypertension. Ano kasi yan eh? Para ka may iPhone na nakadikit sa'yo. Pero, kasi BP ka for 24 hours. Siyempre, hindi 24 hours nakasikip ka. So, parang every 30 minutes, then, habang gising ka, then every hour, check niya yung so that you will see phase ko ba ang nag-cause ng hypertension niya o pagka-uwi niya sa dapat pagka-uwi niya sa bahay normal or totoo bang may hypertension siya. Hindi yung uwi nila yun. Dati, nung konti ka lang yung ABP, pinapa-uwi pa siya. Kasi mahal. So, iko-confine natin sila. Pero kung pwede lang po tayo BG, pero kung ano nila hindi sila ibibibi lang doon. Ibibibi lang tayo. Then, plasma urine, catecholamines, if you're thinking of, and okay. For those with chronic hypertension, those longer than 2 to 3 months. Because, when we say acute hypertension, we think of, for those that do not resolve within 3 months, or on 3 or more antihypertensives, we consider them as chronic hypertension. So these are the renal diseases, vascular diseases, central nervous system diseases, and associated. So, kunwari, meron kang 15-year-old, 6 months na siya na may hypertension. 6 months na siya na may hypertension. Sinartan mo na siya ng Losartan. Sinartan mo na siya ng chlorine. Anong gagawin mo? Ano nga ito consider ng diseases? Ito ba transient or intermittent hypertension or itong chronic hypertension? Siyempre, dito ka na bibigyan. 6 months na eh. a month ago, nagpapakita ka, normal pa daw yun. Yan. So, saan ka pipili yung diseases? Dito o dito? Siyempre, transient or intermittent hypertension. Most common of which would be the drugs and poisons or the again, we know disease and cardiovascular hypertension is the cause in 90% with hypertension, especially in hereditary or these are the renal vascular diseases, fibromuscular dysplasia, vasculitis, and extrinsic progression, wherein given statistics, wherein we diagnose these by CT angiogram. Kasi vascular we do angiogram. Okay, so what happens when we have hypertension? So when there would be problems with renal and renal parenchyma and vasculation. So with renal vasculature, there can be compressive masses or renal artery disease such as Takayama or fibromuscular dysplasia. Those are very common. So there can be, iisipin nyo yung kidney mo, aha! Kulang yung dugo kasi walang nakarating masyado sa akin na dugo. Alam ko na, i-activate ko ang renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. What does it do? Once it's activated, you will have the production of aldosterone. And aldosterone causes sodium and water retention. Well, i-favorite ko na itong mga students. Masagot sila lang. It's like naman. Check. Okay. So, yun yun. So, once that's activated, there will be hypertension. Kasi, ang akala niya, the body doesn't have enough fluid. That's why, to maintain the effective circulatory volume, it's going to contain water and sodium. Sodium and water. Now, with renal parenchymal disease, not only do you have renin secretion, but also there is decreased filtration, surface, and membrane permeability. So, kumagi na yung glomerulitis. So, there's decreased filtration. And with glomerulonephritis, there's also problems with that basement membrane per se. So, there will be sodium and water retention. Hindi na lumalabas yung water tsaka yung sodium. Kaya nare-retain sila. Not because of the activation of the RAS, but intrinsically, it's getting sodium and water because it's not being filtered out. Therefore, hypertension. So what do? You give antihypertensive care. The target BP is less than 90%. So, pwede kang tumungtong sa elevated BP. Kung the patient is otherwise normal and you're just doing lifestyle measures. But, if the patient has comorbidities such as cardiovascular risk factors, diabetes, symptomatic pheochromocytoma, with associated end organ damage, diba? Sinabi ko sila, higher you prognosticate the patient and they get symptomatic. You check for the cause, you check for the comorbidity, you check for the end organ damage right away. So because if there is end organ damage, kahit wala siya nitong ibang factors, your target BP will be much lower. Hindi ka pwedeng kahit elevated BP na. Dapat normal BP. So, for others naman who have stage 2 hypertension, you do, and with acute symptoms of hypertension, you replace mainstay of therapy is lifestyle modification. Kailangan niya magpaka-healthy at magpapayat. Weight loss is the primary therapy in obesity-related hypertension. And do you know that in the Philippines, 1 out of 10 children are obese? Children na, wala ko sinasabi ko po sa age group. So, but lifestyle modification is already equivalent to drug monitoring. Before mag-start ng Losartan, I've had a lot of patients na nagpapayat lang sila, hindi na nila kailangan sa pagkain. Lalo ng mga bata, magbabait pa yan. Mga adult, napakababa ng threshold ng mga carbon sa kanya. Mga nagsasabi. Mga adult, parang they're setting their weights. Hindi na na sila babatas ng papakasalita. Kain pa rin sila na pork chop. Yan. So, lifestyle modifications that have scientific basis are as follows. Salt. Sodium less than 2.5 grams per day. Ano yung ibig sabihin yan? Kakain ka ng may lasa pero walang sausawan. Kakain ka ng siomai, hindi mo babahain ng toyo.
Yung masarap.
Iipuin mo ba kay chili? Na perfect mo na yung creation ng kalamansi sa toyo. Yun ang sisiris. Pero, as I always say, everything is moderation. Napakasaya ka doon. Hindi next mo kakainin mo go na. So, anyway, this is per day. Pwede ka naman kumain ng masarap. Why? Kuha ka. Day mo. Kumain ka ng flavor mo. Taas na sugar nun. Taas na salt nun. E di, after nun, kakainin mo, sushi lang. Everything in moderation. Hindi ka kawawang-kawawa. Because especially in children, if you tell them, don't eat that, mag-uumit sila, they'll hide it from you. We've had patients kumakain sila ng chicken cubes. Kasi lagi na nagawa ng lasa yung pagkain nila. Kinain yung chicken cubes. Fresh fruits and vegetables. Look how significant the DASH diet, low fat diet, the DASH diet, 11.4 systolic, and 5.5 in diet. The DASH plus low sodium, 11.5. Hindi chismis lang. Chismis pa lang. Chismis pa lang. Yung nalililin yung diet. And so what is DASH diet? Basically, you eat more of fiber, but you still need the calories. Why? Fructose, less than 74 grams. Lahat ng mga sinasabi sa TikTok, hindi siya ito. Walang scientific basis pa yun. Next, weight reduction. Para hindi na siya obese. You will actually decrease the SBP by 4.4 and the DKB by 2.6 with approximately 5 kilograms of weight loss. Kaya talaga, my patients sometimes they were almost starting instead na pabilog, naging pabila yung katawan nila mga lalaki. Pabila sila. Alam niyo, yung BP nila nagiging 90%, 60%, stronger, natatanggal yung mess. That's how important lifestyle was. Moderate intensity, dynamic activity for 30 minutes, 5 to 7 times a week. Ano ibig sabihin nun? No? Dynamic. Ang dynamic, yan yung mga galaw ka ng galaw. Jumping rope, jumping rope, basketball. Hindi ko sinasabing, ang basketball hindi high intensity. Sinasabi ko, dynamic siya. Swimming, yan. Ano yung mga high intensity na hindi dynamic? High intensity. Boxing, surfing, yung lagi ka lang nakakontract. once they start to breathe, once their breathing is normalized, then allow them to breathe. Hindi laging weights lang yan. At saka ang weights, 1 to 2 years talaga yan bago lumasa yung katawan. Huwag nang taasan yung protein intake dahil ang gusto mo magpamaksel. Dapat talaga yung protein requirement nyo na may and consistent kayo. Hindi ka malaking muscle. 1 to 2 years. Then, CPAP or obstructive sleep apnea. Ay, tapos ito pala. Ano ba? Sa mga bata, alam mo pag jogging mo yung mga 5 years old, parang joke yun. Sasabihin ko sa kanila, araw-araw po dapat maglalaro, basang-basa sa pawis yung bangs na kabilis sa pagka gano'n, ibig sabihin, pinalisan, yung moderate intensity. Hindi na, alam ko lang yung mukha. Meron lang isang recipe, parang hindi ko masyado. Pero, lalabas na. Now, cigarette smoking, drug use, caffeine, hindi daw, hindi siya masyado. But, these things, cigarette smoking and drug use, would instigate siya. Pwede yun. Sa hypertension. Pero anyway, well, they are obese, then they are higher risk. Stress reduction, meditation, yoga. Chismis lang ba yun? Sabi ng literature na nakakadipis lang. But yeah, mindfulness, mental health. Okay. Target organ damage, LVH, LV hypertrophy is the most prominent evidence of target organ damage. Pediatric patients with established hypertension should have ECG to assess for IVs and diabetes because these end organ problems will cause you to be more aggressive with medical treatment. So we will begin with the recommended initial dose, the desired medication. If BP is not yet controlled, initial, so kunwari, ang blood is 5 lang muna. Tapos hindi siya gumana, gagawin mong 10. Hindi siya gumana, magdagdag ka na. Of difference. So, syempre, ang amlodipine, calcium channel blocker, what is that? Vasodilator. Huwag kayo magdadagdag, vasodilator ulit. Dapat yung iba naman. Mag-ACE inhibitor ka naman. Or mag-sartan ka. Angiotensin receptor blockade ka. Central. What have you? Pero hindi yung pare-pare. Okay? Then, kapag umabot ka na ng, nag-isip ka na, magdadagdag ka pa ng urine, refer to pediatric. As you all know, if they show cardiac output times peripheral vascular resistance equals blood pressure, such that an increase in cardiac output, for example, tachycardia, will cause hypertension. So, yung mga nasa stress, natakot sa'yo, next, increase in peripheral vascular resistance such as polycythemia. Yung mga dehydrated, yan yung polycythemia na sila. Yung mga may hematologic problems, polycythemia sila. Then you can also have increased blood pressure. We have patients na may leukemia, nagpo-polycythemia sila. Ang dami-dami nilang WBC, na hypertension. Okay? So, such that, because you know that cardiac output is cardiac rate times stroke volume, when you decrease cardiac rate, beta antagonist, for example, you will cause normal tension. Or, when you decrease stroke volume, such as giving diuretics, you're addressing the sodium and water retention, then you can cause normal tension. With peripheral vascular resistance, with increased peripheral vascular resistance, you can give patients ACE inhibitors, vasodilators, calcium channel blockers, arteriolar vasodilators. Okay? So that you can cause normal. Also, that you determine the underlying disease. Okay? So, kunwari, ang sakit ng pasyente nyo, 12 years old siya, may hematuria siya, may hypertension siya, may edema siya, may history siya of throat infection 1 month ago and 2 weeks ago. So, what's the diagnosis? Glomerular nephritis. So, what's the basic pathophysiology of glomerular nephritis? Sodium and water retention. Ano yung ibibigay natin? Ano yung address natin dito? Anong basic pathophysiology niya? Diba the sodium and water retention? So, what would be the ideal thing to give? What would be the ideal thing to give for this patient? It would be the diuretic. Give good diuretic as ang paborito natin. Now, if the patient is obese, anong problem sa obesity?